Hey guys, I'm wearing my favorite shirt. Yeah, it's a sloth. So Dexter's here. He's right here. Hold on. Come on, up here, boy. Oh, all right, boy. I gotta do math. Okay. So I wanted to give you guys an example of completing the square before you get started on the IXL for second part of the week, and or make your TikTok video. So this question right here says solve by completing the square. Write your answer as integers, proper or improper fractions in simplest form, or decimals rounded to nearest hundredth. Okay, so a bunch of different options there. So we'll look at that again at the end once we have this solved. Okay, so remember when we're completing the square, I'll also show the shortcut method first, and then I'll show the more visual with the algebra tiles second. So basically, all we're going to do when this is a perfect square is make sure we've got ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, in this case, plus c is nothing right now, but we're going to take the b term, so 10, we're going to split it in half and then square it. Okay, so 1/2 times 10, and then take all of that and square it. Okay, so 1/2 of 10 is 5, right? So 5 squared, and that's 25. Okay, so we're going to add that on to each side. So right now we have x squared plus 10x plus 25. And since we're adding 25 to the left side, we have to add that to the right. So we're going to end up with, after we add 25 to each side, x squared plus 10x plus 25 that we just figured out is equal to, well, when I do negative 21 plus 25, negative 21 plus 25 is just 4. Okay, so when we make a perfect square, we're adding those 25 algebra tiles to each side. Okay, now when you have a perfect square like this, we kind of already figured out, okay, half of b. So you're just going to have, when this is factored, it's going to be x plus 5 times x plus 5, or x plus 5 squared, and that's going to be equal to 4. Okay, so remember, our goal is to get x by itself, and remember there's going to be two answers because we have to take a square root. Okay, so to undo this little 2 here, you do the opposite or the inverse operation, which is the square root. So take the square root of each side. Now this just cancels out that 2, so we have x plus 5. And then when we take a square root of just a number, remember there's a positive and a negative answer. So the square root of 4 is 2, but it could be a positive 2 or a negative 2, because when you square a negative, it's going to be a positive anyway. Okay, so we're going to have plus or minus 2. Now, if this was a number that's not a perfect square, you could just leave it as the square root of whatever. Like say it was 3 or 5 or something like that. You could just have the square root of 3 or 5 and have plus or minus a square root. Okay, I'm not sure why this got cut off here, but I'm going to redraw it. This is my x. Okay, so x plus 5 equals plus or minus 2. And then to get rid of a plus 5, I just subtract 5 from each side. Okay, so here this cancels out, and then I just have x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus 2. So I'm going to have my two answers right here. One of them will be negative 5 plus 2, that's negative 3. The other will be negative 5 minus 2, that's negative 7. Now going back to why this completing the square thing works, we can break this into algebra tiles. So if I have x squared, remember that's one of the giant algebra tiles. So this is x squared. And remember, this dimensions are x by x, because x times x, the area will be x squared. And then we're going to break this term in the middle, so in half. okay, because we want the same number of long tiles here and same number of long tiles here. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, my pen's lagging again. 5. Okay, so 5 tiles. So this is going to be a dimension of 5 by x. Remember, because this side is x. So we'll just write it in. And then we're going to have the same number of tiles over here to make 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so again, on this side, we're going to have 5 tiles that are dimensions 1 by x. Okay, and then think about what we would need to fill in here to make it a perfect square. Well, this is 5 times 5, so we'd have to add 25 little squares that I'm not going to draw out. We'd have to draw all those little squares in here and add 25 of those to make this be a perfect square, right? So the dimensions of this, if we think back to the sum and product, well, this is the dimensions are x plus 5. That's the length by x plus 5, the width, right? So that gets down to here, our x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is x plus 5 squared. So we did that shortcut by taking 1/2 of our b term and squaring it to get the 25 tiles. So really, all you have to do is take half of this and square it, and it's going to come out to this 25 algebra tiles every time. So if you need to still do this visual, go ahead and draw it out. But the shortcut is just recognizing what is the term for b and then taking half of it and squaring it. And that gives you the number of tiles that you have to add on to each side. Okay. And then if we were going to finish this out, we would have that negative 21 tiles over here. And then we're adding 25 to that. Okay. And so the perfect square, when you add those together, you get 4. So your perfect square is going to be equal to 4 algebra tiles. Okay. So I'll put the answer in here, make sure we're correct. So x is equal to -3 or -7. And we'll submit. And terrific. Got it right. Okay. So if you guys have questions on those or any specific problems, just take a screenshot, send it to me. Again, I'll do it on here, or I've got office hours again on tomorrow, Thursday. So from 1 to 2. Okay. And get those TikToks turned in. I've got a couple already. All right. I'll see you soon.